Good. Alright, what's the next topic? I forgot.
Life as a dancer. Tell us about life as a dancer.
We'll do that next time. Bro.
Why?
We'll do that next time. I want to do a different topic.
It has to be like tied up together.
Really? You think
like,
so?
So what else can we talk about as far as like being an artist or in the art world?
Okay. I see what you're saying. So, being a dancer.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me why you don't want to talk about it.
It's heavy, yo. Okay, we'll get into being a dancer. Oh, let's say like being a dancer.
Yeah.
So for people to understand when I say dancer, dancer is such an umbrella term. Yeah. The word dancer has become so umbrella now. It's crazy. So when I say dancer, people think either about pole dancing, strip dancing, like pretty much like club. And then there's club dancing, and then there's like TikTok dancing, and then there's hip hop dancing, and then there's like contemporary dancing, and I can go on all day. It's culture dancing. So dance is a very broad term. The dancing I'm talking about is dancing of the hip hop forms, street style forms. Essentially, the dancing that I do. I'm a street style, hip hop style dancer. Contemporary, I dabble in it. I will not say I'm a contemporary dancer. I am not, but I can perform in contemporary ways, and my dance. You can do hip hop in a contemporary way as well. But I'm not a contemporary dancer, but I have done contemporary dance before. And I've choreographed a couple contemporary pieces, but definitely wouldn't come to me as like a guru or contemporary style. That's for sure. So, yeah, so that's kind of dancing I do. And I'm a professional dancer in the sense that I dance to pretty much, I dance for artists, I dance for content, I dance for money, and stuff like that. And and I feel like if you put a lot of time into dancing, you're just a professional dancer, because you'll get hit up just randomly, like, hey, do this for me, I'll give you this, and that, or I'll give you this. Well, okay, I'm down, like, definitely, that's my word, essentially, as a professional dancer, and my whole, like, thing is navigating my dance career and stuff like that, So, yes, I'm a professional dancer, but not full-time. That's the thing I always say, I don't do it full-time, because that's a whole other subject. Why I don't do it full time. But that's what I do as a dancer. So being a dancer is complicated. The kind of dancer I am, it's rough, bro. It's rough.
Okay.
When you first start, your self-esteem gets hit. So a lot of people will come to a dance workshop and never go ever again.
Wow, really?
It's disheartening and discouraging to go to a dance class for your first time and people are killing it. Okay. Imagine you there looking like a chopped noodle soup, like stiff cardboard, and you got this little kid next to you killing it.
Right.
You got 6-year-olds doing Michael Jackson like they're Michael Jackson himself, you know what I mean? It's so discouraging. It's like, wow, you know what I mean? And that's where toxic masculinity comes in. I lost a lot of that as a dancer. A lot of guys that have toxic masculinity don't dance because of the fact that they can't go to a workshop, be trash, and be okay with it. They want to feel like they're killing it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, they want the attention. They'll get upset when there's one dude killing it, Chris Brown and everything. You're just over there being a cardboard. No one cares about you. That's just hurting for some males. You know what I mean? And for girls too. Imagine you go to a class. You're already body conscious. You already don't think you're beautiful. You go to a class and you have busting down, twerking, splitting, whipping their hair, touching their body, and people going crazy. And you're just in the corner looking like a flop noodle, chopped sweet. Right. Tuna fish, you know what I mean? Right. It's disheartening. I know the feeling, And I'll watch dancers go in a workshop class and they just go straight to the back. I'm like, man, like I know what that feels like. And in a workshop, essentially, this workshop that I'm talking about in the sense is when you go to a dance class, you learn a piece within an hour and you perform it at the end of the class. That's a workshop, a dance workshop, or a dance class, same thing. And people have a hard time doing it. People that tend to be dancers, people that understand that winning and losing comes and goes. You shouldn't really focus on winning 24/7. And I think that's one thing that separates dancers from other people is that we can lose and win and be okay with it. We understand that, today wasn't the day. I wasn't feeling that groove. Or you can't be good at every dance style or dance move, you know what I mean? And you'll forget. You'll know the piece, go up there, forget everything. And it's not because, you're bad. It's just, it happens sometimes. You know what I mean? You have a brain fart sometimes. It's just you're a human, That's one. Second thing is being called gay all the time. People always assume I'm gay.
Okay.
Because I dance. And I get it. It is also, it doesn't help on one of the styles I do dance.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if anyone that knows me or seen my stuff, at some point might have seen me dance femme. Well, femme style of dancing essentially is, for me, it's a mixture of voguing, it's a mixture of ratchet, it's a mixture of like hip hop done by like females back in the day, essentially. Mixture of twerking, a mixture of like whining, a mixture of a lot of styles that you associate with women, feminine style, hence the name, or like cheerleading moves, stuff like that. Like a lot of those moves that girls have done over history and time, gymnastics, that kind of stuff. You pull that into femme style, and that's pretty much femme style. You know, or K-pop, cutesy K-pop stuff. Like that's all femme style. I do dance femme style, not as my main, but it's one of my mains.
And you were great at it.
Wow, here you go. Yes,
I see why they would consider you gay, but like
it happens all the time.
Like to me, like just the technical aspects. I'm like, wow, like I can't move like that. Like that's really it for me. I'm just like, wow, like that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I know when I switch into that femme mode, people are like, wow, this dude is gay. This dude wants it up his butt.
Like I don't know. Even in the dance world, even though they themselves are aware of these different styles.
Yes,
and stuff like that,
people, because that's the thing, a lot of masculine males refuse to dance femme. I told you about that one guy in a dance project I had. He refused to dance femme style. He made the piece I made into like more masculine-y or poppy. And I was like, oh, I never thought about that. And I understood too. They're from a different generation than I am. Back then, they're not comfortable with that. Even if they're pro-gay or they're comfortable with trans people or whatever, they themselves wouldn't do that because they're not. You know, it's still instilled in them. It's hard to break a habit, you know what I mean?
I understand.
So, yeah, so I get called gay all the time. And it's confirmed, like, back in the day, dancing was a sissy thing, you know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy.
Most parents did not send their kids to, like, dance classes. Or their boys to dance classes. Boys go to sports and martial arts, girls go to dancing and singing and arts. That's especially a Haitian household, yeah. You know?
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's one thing I get all the time is hit on by gay guys. Or not hit on. I don't mind it. You know, it's cool to talk to gay people. Like nothing wrong with them.
I feel like it's flattering. You're attracted to men and women. Yeah. I think it's pretty flattering.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. And then how I am with sexuality is how complicated thing itself. Cause like I'm open to a lot of different things, but some things there's a line. So we're going down a different podcast. My sexuality is a whole thing. But yeah, so that's that. So yeah, and I would say being a dancer also a lot of it is the money thing. Is people underrate dancing, and TikTok made it worse. Of course, how people view dancing and dancers, everyone thinks it's easy or it's too hard. There's no between. No one thinks it's like a chill thing. Like you can kind of learn and kind of do. Yeah. Everyone thinks dancing either is too hard or too easy.
Okay.
Right, and that issue, it's so annoying, man. When people think they can dance, like especially when you train for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, whatever it is, and someone comes out of nowhere, like, I can do that. It's like, don't play with me. Yeah, I hate people who do that. Like, I get it. Like it's good to be confident. You can try what I'm doing, but don't say you can do it. Everything I can do. Like no, this took me years to get to this level of performance and body control. And then there's people that think it's too hard. It's like no, like you can do a little 2-step and that's still dancing. Yeah. But that's the 2-step. Yeah. When I'm doing choreography, ain't no 2-step. You feel me? And then TikTok. They call themselves dancers, and that threw me off for a little bit. I'm like, you're not a dancer. Don't call that TikTok dancing. But I had to humble myself to remember how hip hop started was people dancing like that, and then eventually blew up to what we do now, more complex stuff, sets and things of that nature. A set is when people do choreography or dancing for like 3 minutes straight, essentially. Or a minute straight, whatever it is, and like have a bunch of people together and have like a show or a performance or a message, whatever it is. That's a set. And yeah, so that's kind of thing. Like being a dancer is like, I don't know, it's complicated because also it's so many different type of dancers. You know, it's like so many different styles of dancing, and it gets controversial all the time. You know, people like, oh, this is popping, and it's like that's not popping, and then you know, and it's stuff like that, or that's crump, or that's not crump, and then it gets sticky and complicated. But I would say yeah, if you're not, yeah. Oh, and then the last thing is, going back to like the people who don't understand it, it's also physically demanding. Dancing is a sport. Yeah. That was an issue that I've had with people for years. dancers I know personally will still say to this day that dancing is not a sport, and I still like don't understand why they don't get it yet. But majority have won. We finally won the argument that dancing is a sport. It's official. Nike backs us up in everything. Adidas backs us up in everything now. Cause it was for years. I think 2015 to 2018 was a weird period of time. Even before that, where people would argue, is dancing art or is it a sport? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's both. Mm-hmm. But it's more not the sports side because of the fact that you have to move your body, you have to sweat, you have to do a bodily repetition. You know, the art form is essentially you moving a certain pattern into music. You can dance without music. You see what I'm saying? But you can't draw without a pencil. You can't draw. Correction. You can't draw without making a line with the medium.
Okay.
Or like using the medium. You can't just have a. Okay, this is complicated now.
No,
too.
I think no. I understand.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Kind of like you can't make an art piece without material. There we go. Yeah, without a medium. Same with dance, but you can dance without music. That's the thing about dancing that I get where it can. You can dance without music.
No. As far as the art thing, because remember the guy that gave the blank canvas.
Oh, that's a different type of art.
I think that's a bad one. This is not a good comparison. Well, trying to compare like traditional art because
traditional art.
It's all like subjective.
Yes.
Like I can like this could be art. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, that's true.
So
yeah.
Bad comparison, but I understand where you're going.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question.
What's up?
So is the reason why so the people that didn't call it a sport, were they just saying it was just an art then?
Yeah, they would say it's straight art. It's not a sport.
Okay, but you're okay.
You right.
So like, what is the definition of a sport?
People, point system, teams. Like a match kind of setup.
You guys have that too.
Like strict training regimens, and that's what I'm saying. That's why exactly. So we won the argument.
Okay, yeah.
We won the argument.
I'm just trying to understand like the people that don't think it's a sport.
Now,
I'm just trying to understand.
From what I remembered, it was okay. Let me not. I can spark an argument. The person that I'm thinking about specifically, the dance world, like the people that I think that didn't consider it a sport, were people that didn't do the extreme dance styles. So there are dance styles that don't involve as much. Yeah, so there are people that do dance styles that don't involve a lot of energy. Popping and tutting, for example, are dance styles that don't require a lot of energy. Okay. People like that would call it an art form, and it makes sense because tutters literally make shapes with their arms. And they don't burn that much, energy doing tutting. You know what I mean? It's making lines with your arms, squares, rectangles with your arms. And then there's also the triangle type of tutting too. And there's finger tutting and stuff like that. So like, I can see why they didn't consider it a sport. You know what I mean? Or how do you battle with? Yeah. You know what I mean? Or like, how do you call that a sport?
Sure. And
then poppers too is just literally the contraction of your muscle. It looks like your body is popping. And I can see how people would consider that a sport. You literally are running across a field. There's no field. You can do it anywhere, anytime. But you can't play football anywhere, anytime. You feel me? Or you can play soccer anywhere, anytime. You know what I mean? Or basketball. Basketball requires a hoop. Soccer requires a net. Stuff like that. Dance you can do anywhere. So I can see why the sport thing was like threw him off. And most sports require equipment. You require sneakers, but dancing you can do it barefoot. You can do it naked. It doesn't require anything to dance, just your body. Yeah. So I can see why the argument of sports versus art was a thing with dancing, but at the end of the day, you move your body, you sweat if you do it for hours, and it's physically demanding, and it requires a certain level of coordination and muscle control. Therefore, it's a sport and art at the same time.
Argument one.
Yeah, exactly. Like Nike and Adidas recognized that and made us shoes and clothes for us. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know what y'all arguing about. And that's the thing, poppers too would wear normal clothes like jeans and t-shirts and stuff. And one of the creators or people that were in the beginning phase of the creation of the popping style even told us during the workshop when he was teaching us the fundamentals of popping that we don't stretch, we don't warm up, none of that junk. And I was like, I can start to see where the argument started. Because like, athletes stretch and warm up for a sport. Poppers are like warm and stretch. He literally said we don't do none of that stretching and warm up stuff. We just go straight into it. I'm like, I see.
Okay,
why
so
do you see it's an art?
I guess I'll ask. Then, would you consider, or would it be possible to consider tutting and popping not dancing?
No, they're dancing.
But like, is there anything else you could call that?
No, it's dancing.
Okay,
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's such a dumb argument. But I saw where it came from because dancers didn't like being called athletes. Yeah, dancers didn't like being called athletes.
Why?
Athletes, think about it. Back in the day, athletes had a bad stigma. The jock in a lot of movies. If you watch movies and that during that time where dancing was kind of like hip hop was being developed, jocks were still a thing. You know what I mean? Okay. So jocks were seen as cocky mother effers out there doing stupid stuff and just being toxic masculinity. And all they do is run and catch stuff. You know what I mean? They didn't want to be seen as that. They weren't catching or throwing or running. They were dancing. So dancers like separating themselves from athletes. But for me, athletes and dancers are the same thing. A dancer is equivalent to a football player in the sense that we both do a sport and stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, so that's that, and that was like a thing for a while too. And I had to learn that as well. Like I thought dancing was art, but when I learned it was a sport, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy."
Did it change your mindset?
Yeah, it changed my perspective and how I view it, and how I treated my body during it. Cause I got a lot of injuries dancing, man. I ripped a lot of muscles dancing. Like I ripped my hamstrings. I've broken my wrist. I've broken my arm bone like twice. Dancing, like it's a sport, y'all. It's a sport. I've been in a cast because of dancing on my arm. I had an ankle brace for like weeks because I'm dancing is a sport. I've ripped a muscle in my rib cage. Like what the heck? Dancing is a sport, y'all. That's especially the type of dancing I do. Because my dance style, for y'all that don't know, never seen me shot dance before, I mix around the styles of break dancing. I mix around the style of crumping. I mix around femme style, and I mix around tutting. The one I do the least is popping. But yeah, if you ever catch me freestyling or battling or dancing, it's probably some type of tutting, femme, break dancing, or crump, and of course hip hop that I do. Now, if you know femme style, as a male doing femme style, it's very hard on the body. When you gotta arc that back, you gotta kick high as hell, you gotta like spread your legs and stuff. You know what I mean?
I'm remembering all of these lovely dance moves that you were doing.
It's a little tough on the male body, especially when if you don't stretch that much as a male. It's tough on the body. You know what I mean? And that's why I ripped my hamstring trying to dance like a girl.
That's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
How did that come about?
Because I jumped into a split cold.
Why?
Yeah, I was feeling it. I was. Girl, you about to tear this thing up. And I jumped into a split and I got up and I was like, I wasn't anything. I kept going and that's where I messed up. I kept going. Oh, and I did it again.
You did it again?
Yeah, the adrenaline rush.
Oh my God. It just sounds painful.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm like, how?
It was a big pop sound. I was like, Yo.
Wow. You were a trooper. You kept going. How long was this?
It was like, how long ago? It's like 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. And you kept going. Yeah. I'm proud of you. That's crazy.
Yeah, it took a while to
I feel like that would have took me out. Coach, I'm out. I'm done.
Man. Oh, that too. Like, dancers don't have coaches.
Yeah, well,
that thing too. We have like people that teach us dancing and kind of, but like it's like the form of a coach. It's like a sensei type thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, and it's not really. They weren't teams back then either, but now they're a team, so it's a lot different now. So dancing has changed over the years. Yeah. Yeah, and also there's different type of dance ways you can get into dancing. You can dance on teams. You can dance for a group. You can dance solo, like freestyle battling. You can dance just making content and stuff like that. The kind of dancing I do now is a lot of just content dancing. I no longer dance on teams as much as I used to. When I started dancing, I danced on teams. Now I dance more of as a choreographer, where I make my own choreo and I focus on myself versus like a team and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can dance, and I think as a dancer, like the biggest thing being a dancer is that I've learned to love myself. That's a big thing. You have to love yourself to dance.
How long did it take you to get to this point?
4 years. So I lied. 3 years. 3 years.
What triggered it for you, or like what made you feel like that's what you had to do, and then what helped facilitate that? Oh,
how I became a dancer?
How you got to comfortable and
love myself?
Yourself?
I think it was when I got...
But tell us how you became a dancer,
Nah, I'll do that different. that story is a little emotional. But, so how I became to love myself as a dancer was when I got recognized for one of my pieces that I didn't think was that good. Okay. When I and it was a very unique piece too. Like no one in my dance community at the time made that type of choreo. Okay. And when I made it, I was taking like a chance on it, yada yada. I was like, oh, it's okay. And it was a fire piece. And if other people saw it, they loved it. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then I started loving myself more as a dancer. And then when I started doing femme style myself, I always get a lot of attention. When I do femme style myself on my body, people just go crazy and they love it. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess. So yeah, I think when people started liking my pieces, I was like, yo, that's crazy. Or kids would walk up to me and tell me, oh my God, can I have your autograph? I'm like, what?
That's so funny.
Right? I'm like,
That's
kids
so
wanted my autograph. After like a freestyle battle I had, kids wanted my autograph.
That's so cute.
And I was like, and then when they picture with me, I was like,
give it to them?
I mean, I'm shot.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, kids are walking up to me asking for pictures? That's crazy. I'm nothing.
You're so funny.
I was like nothing. I didn't consider myself a good dancer back then anyway. And I still got kids wanting to dance like me and stuff like that, you know? And it was cool.
That's that stuff that be inspiring.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I love myself. Like, I'm too harsh on myself. I gotta appreciate who I am and how I am. For sure. And just go with it, you know? And then I think the biggest thing about being a dancer is also being nervous all the time. I think I'm always nervous.
Still?
Dude, when you're on stage in front of a crowd and, like, people expect you to kill that junk, like, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure being a dancer. Especially in my world. Well, imagine you go to a circle, everyone's around you, they're like, go.
You got it, bro.
You're like,
yeah, okay.
You're like, two-step. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's a lot of pressure because people are scared to look stupid. I think as a dancer, you got to realize you cannot look stupid. Only if you think you look stupid, then you look stupid. And that's the thing with dancing. Dancing is accepting looking stupid. Yeah. That's how you kind of see.
Lessons with shot.
Yes. Yeah. You got to accept being stupid. You're only stupid if you think you look stupid. If people say you look stupid, doesn't mean you look stupid. That's the thing you gotta realize too. Just because people say, "Oh, you dance gay," doesn't mean you're dancing gay. I'm dancing straight. What is dancing gay? There's no man. I'm not dancing on a man.
Like, what is that?
Yeah, I'm dancing by myself next to girls. I think that's straight as.
It don't matter how well I look.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you know. So I had to curse on that one. That one, I needed that release, bro. Stuff like that, you know. So stuff you gotta realize. Don't let people define you. You define yourself.
Facts.
I think dancing is a lot of that, and people that don't understand that aren't very good dancers, in my opinion. If you don't understand that people don't define you, you define yourself. That's like a thing, you know. You can say you're a crump dancer. You can say you're not a crump dancer and do crump. You know what I mean? You don't have to put that label on yourself. People can call you a crumper. You'd be like, okay, whatever. But I'm just doing this because I like it, and I mix it around. And I don't think I'm crumping. I'm just dancing how I feel. That's fine, because you can dance crump and never have seen crump in your life. And all of a sudden, you're in a community. People are like, you're a crumper. I'm like, what's that? You know, it's like I've been crumping my whole life apparently. Then you know what I mean? Like dance style, like breakdancing was created in 2 cities at the same time. I think it was California, Chicago, I believe, is where breaking started. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I have to look up on it again, or maybe it was in like Hispanic country. But breakdancing was created in 2 different places around the same time period. So the creators get complicated, and then the styles get kind of weird and stuff like that. So that's why I feel like dancing, don't people define you. That's like a big thing. But it's fun. It's also depressing, and there's a lot of drama in it. Because dancing is a lot of drama in it. I think with art is less drama in art because it's more like a singular thing, and people are very open minded. But with dancing, there's a lot of definitions and lines and like discreteness everywhere, where that's where problems start, you know, like with the whole dancing gay, right? Guys don't want to dance femme, right? Or like people consider this is not okay. Like some people don't like when I dance femme as a woman. Some girls like when I dance femme. They think it's weird, like, oh, why are you dancing like that? You shouldn't. Doesn't belong to you. You know, people get defensive and stuff like that. Or when I teach femme, it's a problem sometimes too. People are like, you shouldn't be teaching girls how to do this. It should be a girl teaching a girl to do this. It's like, what? But most of that dancing y'all see in music videos with girls busting down doing crazy stuff is made by men. Facts. Literally, like Bankhead makes a lot of the choreography you see girls be doing, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Like any of your favorite rappers, they got choreo up there, a man probably made that. And it blows my mind when I learned about that. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Of course they're probably gay. Yeah, it gets controversial a lot too when you start teaching styles and you're not adverse in the style. People get defensive about that too. Like, oh, you're only a beginner at tutting. Why are you teaching tutting? It's like, I can teach the basics, but people feel like the vets are the veterans are allowed to teach it only. That's it.
Yeah, I think like if we're gonna talk about like the art world not being as dramatic, it really depends on what you're doing.
Oh, really?
It depends on who you're interacting with and what you're doing. Because same thing, like if someone doesn't think your style is good, they're gonna be like, well, you can't teach art, right? Or like it depends on like kind of work you're creating too. That can be controversial. Like if you're doing like political work, or if you're doing, because there's art isn't just drawing and painting. There's performance art. There's also like what's her name? I don't know her name, but she would do things that are very questionable. Like she would stand out in public with her eyes covered, and she would have a whole bunch of things on the table and let people do things to her. And these things would.
Oh, I've seen that in that movie. The movie where they turn to a donkey. The white voice guy. The white voice guy. Oh my God.
Turn into a donkey?
There's a movie. Oh my gosh. Sorry to bother you.
I haven't seen it yet, but
watch it. So that's performance art. People do stuff to you.
That's a form of. This is Abrovovich or whatever. I can't remember her first name, but she's a foreign lady, and that's usually the kind of work that she does. So really drastic stuff. People start questioning. So like she'll have things like knives and even unloaded guns, but like people. Just to show, I guess, how society interacts with her, like people would actually cut her. People would actually like leave a rose on her or something like that, and that's just be her thing, right? Or like there's one piece that she has that's really wild to me. Like I'm like, this is trust. So it's like, who is holding it? I think it's her. So like it's her and a person holding a bow and arrow, and there's an actual arrow, and they're both just leaning back. And she's putting a lot of trust in this person not to let go, right? So there's that, and she also, I think this was
scary. I'd be like, I love you, AP, but you're not catching me with a bow and arrow next to my chest.
I wouldn't trust. Like, listen, I wouldn't trust my hands.
Yeah,
I wouldn't trust my hands. I would trust me, in my hands. She also has like this piece that she did in New York, I think. I remember like Jay-Z even talking about it, or maybe included her in a music video. I don't remember. Where she'll just sit in a room and people would line up just to look into her eyes for several minutes. Like, because people, I guess it's a vulnerability thing. So like there are some people, they could be a stranger. They'll sit there and just be staring at each other's eyes for several minutes and like probably start break down crying or something, or like
what?
Yeah. Like it's
Holy Spirit up in that bitch. What?
It's a lot of stuff. So like that, for example, like performance arts could be like very controversial and start a conversation and like be really weird. She does a lot of like demonic type stuff that people would look at as demonic. That would be me.
Unsubscribing, unfollowing, and blocking this woman.
And like talking about her, right? Like, so she has like this kind of rep. There's also an artist who works with like gross things. It's not gross, but like it's gross when you think about it. She works.
Don't give me an example. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
She works with bodily fluids. I'll just stop there.
Oh my.
Of other people. Like she had people.
That's how you get HIV.
She had people give bodily fluids, and people gave her bodily fluids for this art piece. It was really weird to me, but it's art, you know what I'm saying? And probably sparked a conversation somewhere like, that's unethical, you shouldn't. But like, she asked for permission. It's not like she went over and like got it. Yeah. So like, yeah. So it really depends.
That's what I'm saying. Some people understand, some don't. I think a lot of the old school dancers are the ones that get mad about a lot of stuff, and the new school people are like more understanding.
Yeah, new school and old school, even in the traditional art world too.
Yeah. But then new school is causing a new problem that the old school kind of started, where it's like, what is dance now? Mm-hmm. And stuff.
So what is dance? What considers someone a dancer?
Dance. Oh, I remember this question. Yeah. So dancing, the definition is just moving your body. Mm-hmm. Essentially, is dancing, right? Now it gets complicated because then it's like moving your body to music. Something, but you don't have to move your body to music to dance. I definitely agree with that. But normally it's done to music or rhythm, and you can dance to your own inner beat essentially. Okay. You know what I mean? Or maybe just your feelings get released and you start moving your body. That's crump essentially, where you release your energy, emotions through movement that kind of like portray what you're feeling. You know what I mean? That's like what crump's all about. you know. But you do it in a certain form or a way where people kind of understand what you're going through, you know what I mean? But sometimes you don't have to. Contemporary style is kind of like that. You just literally release and dance, and that's contemporary style, or crump, depending on like how you go about expressing yourself. And that's what dancing is. I think just moving your body, essentially, is dancing. Okay. You know what I mean? Of course, to a rhythm, inner beat, or just to emotions, you know, or just how you feel like moving at that moment. And it's still, and that's what dancing still is today. That's why the people that say they're dancers are right. If you feel like you're dancing, then you're dancing. I can't argue with you. You know, and stuff like that. But then, you know, dancers that make money, or dancers that like put work into projects and try to dance and like on stage and stuff like that, that's when dancing gets kind of complicated, because it's like it's all different. Like TikTok dancing is different than dancing on stage, and different than dancing in a set, and different than dancing for a project per se, or in a movie or whatever. You know, it's all different types of dancing. And it's like so broad. That's why I think people get mad, because when they do a dance style or a dance type and it's not respected, it's frustrating. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's frustrating for me. It was past tense frustrating for me when I would post long, deep, great, amazing forms of videos using dancers and dance things. Like, the clothes are on point, everything's on point. You know, makeup, you know, lights, effects, and it gets like 2 likes. But if you go on there, you just freaking like hit the milli rock or whatever, you get like 10K views. You're like, wow. You know what I mean?
Just it's the same thing in the art thing. I think you came across that on TikTok when you did the stick figure thing.
Yeah. Literally, like, I made a stick figure TikTok, and it got like the most views on my TikTok. Right, and I'm like, I literally don't draw. I drew horribly.
I'm sure he got more likes than I would ever got on like any piece that I created.
Right. I was like,
it's ridiculous.
And I literally was making fun of an artist or how bad I drew. People loved it. You know, and it's crazy how dancing is changing, and that's why you were saying the thing that you don't make art for other people. Dancing is kind of like that too, but it's complicated now, because like if you want to get noticed and respected and put into projects and recommended and paid, you gotta do stuff that people like. If you can dance your own thing and people love it, you're lucky. If you're a dancer that does whatever you do, people like it off rip, and they'll give you stuff for it or invite you to do stuff without having you change your form, that's beautiful. And you can achieve that over time, but the amount of years that go into it till someone finds you and willing to like give you opportunities because of what you do, it's hard. It's hard. That's why a lot of dancers start dancing in other ways to please more people. For example, crumping, I already know this. A lot of girls, well, I've asked, and it's true, if you look at crump followers of crumpers and stuff like that, not a lot of girls like crumping.
I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, but like you wouldn't find it like attractive.
What is attractive? Like,
that's the thing.
Like,
so if you saw a guy crumping, like it's the thing. If you put side by side, a guy doing full authentic crump versus a guy doing like a contemporary piece, you probably like the contemporary piece more than the crumper.
Maybe, because I find it very interesting. Look, I guess in all aspects, I'm not a dancer, so I can't even be like, oh, that's good or not. Like, I just be like, wow, like look at the way he's moving his body, like. He's hitting all those beats. He's hearing stuff that that I wouldn't hear, that sort of thing. I actually learned that when I started watching a bunch of videos.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's cool.
It's really interesting to watch like each dancer hear different things and like move differently based on what they're hearing.
And it's a platform that teaches beginners how to dance through videos. And
they're not
like
sponsoring us, so I'm gonna block all of this.
But oh, that's true. You're right. One day I will be promoting these. I'll be like, yo, they pay me to talk about them now.
Right? It's sponsored right.
Yes. Yeah. So in overall, a lot of people don't like the crump style. Because of how aggressive and fighty it looks.
That's why I like it. Like you could get that through music.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, that's why I find it so interesting.
That's probably why we're good friends, because like you understand a lot of things that I like, and vice versa. But other people, it's just not a popular style overall.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you will not see many crump dance crews. It's like one crump dance crew in the world, or maybe a couple, and it's not very clean. It's also just how the art form works. It's not clean. Yeah. Like being in sync isn't a thing that crumpers really do. Yeah. Yeah, that's also issues, because synchronicity is what dancers do together most of the time. When crumpers come around, we're just like going wild crazy. We're not like trying to be fully in sync with each other. People don't like that. It's not like hot and sexy. But contemporary dancers will go around and do that emotional stuff, and girls start crying and be like, "Oh my God, that's beautiful." I get it.
I guess, you know what I mean? To me, it's too slow. Like it's interesting to watch, like it's male bodies moving that way or whatever. But like I'm just like, Okay.
Yeah.
That shit puts me to sleep.
Yeah. But it's like there's different. There's some contemporary. There's like modern. There's modern that you'll like more. It's more like the normal speed that we go in that you saw us doing. There's that a contemporary form called modern dancing.
Okay.
You'll like that more probably. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of modern. I prefer traditional contemporary over modern now. But that's another subject. But essentially. What were we talking about this again? Oh, yeah. Overall, the style I do is like crumping was my original style, and it wasn't very popular in my community, in our social media at that time. At least, or the type of crimping I was doing or whatever. But when I started doing femme style, everyone loved it. I got more likes. People reposted it. You know, people were talking about it. People would invite me to do stuff because of my femme style. And I was like, dang, I don't like femme style like that.
You don't?
Now I do. It's fun.
Okay.
But when I originally was more masculine and like whatever, I wasn't into it. I was trying to look straight. I had an image to keep up.
Right.
So I would avoid it. But then I just got noticed for it. And I started switching my style of dancing to femme and added it to my roster. And then I was like, okay, cool. And then I started adding like other styles to my roster too. And then the reason I did that was to get more people to like my stuff, to get a wider range audience, essentially. So a lot of dancers started doing that, and it's kind of sad at first, but also it's not a bad thing too. A lot of dancers would tell you it's good to learn other styles, in the sense of like, kind of like when you go to school, learn a bunch of subjects to expose you to everything. You find out, oh, I like this. You would have known that if you never tried it. That kind of thing happens in dancing a lot, but. It's also negative in the sense that you do what you like and people don't like it. You're like, dang, I gotta try this instead. I guess everyone's into that. That's TikTok dancing now. Like you have to TikTok dance. You know what I mean? And you don't have to, but like if you did TikTok dance, you would get more attention than what you did before. And it's like, dang, they don't like what I did before. It kind of messes with you a little bit. You know what I mean? Kind of makes you not want to do what you used to do anymore. That made you happy. Now you gotta kind of do this new thing, and you start to like it too. It's not that bad. So it's like a hate-love relationship with dancing that I have for sure. Yeah, especially when I have to switch up my style, it's kind of annoying. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go, me trying to adjust to the meta, the current society right now. You know, like people don't want to watch long videos no more. You know, they want to see some quick 15-second thing of you killing it, and that's it.
I mean, if you're killing it for 10 minutes, like. Or however long the video is, that's dope. That's so crazy. I guess this could be a perfect caveat into, or that's not the word. Transition, but that's not the word that I was thinking of. Transition into death of creativity.
Death of creativity.
Segue. That's the word. Perfect segue into death of creativity. Yeah. Unless you're not done with dancing.
No, I think I'll stop there for now. I'll go into professional dancing more a different day. Professional dancing is definitely what people probably want to hear about more and stuff like that, or how I started or how you get started. That's like tutorial stuff. I think I went over the basics of what a dancer is. And what I do as a dancer, just to finish that off, I just, dancing is just, making choreo or learning a step essentially and performing it to music. That's what I do. Yeah, I make a lot of choreo, a lot of choreography.
It's all amazing. So go on his dance YouTube and on his Instagram and check out all that information.
I actually was deleting stuff now too. I was like, all this trash I got on my Instagram page deleted.
You're so funny.
Yeah, you saw me reposted some of them too. I was like, oh, I'm gonna show the good ones.
Oh, was that you like deleting stuff?
Yeah, as I was deleting, started seeing good ones and started reposting the good ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're so funny. I was actually, I might have been stalking your page at the same time, so I was like, just looking at his old stuff, like, oh wow, look at how much he's grown.
Yeah.
Look at how far he's come.
Yeah, I dance a lot different than back in the day, for sure. But yeah, so we'll talk about the professional stuff and the how-tos and how I got into it later. That's a whole another 2-hour conversation, bro. It's long.
That's crazy.
Yeah, professional dancing is crazy, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.